much less a court. They want to arraign her on some charges based on a newspaper article that she did something lawful. However ill-advised it may have been, she took a phone call from one of her constituents. Now, I don't think it is the position of the very distinguished gentleman that if we find Jeffrey Epstein on the phone with Donald Trump, he should be impeached for it, or is that his position?
It's a great question. Representative Jamie Raskin there stated that when his colleague, Delegate Stacey Plaskett, texted with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 congressional hearing, she was simply speaking to a constituent. And if you thought that was bad, just wait until we get to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. But first, Cenk, your 2 cents?
Yeah, that last line by Representative Raskin was good about, hey, if you're on the phone with Epstein, should we censure or impeach you? Because certainly Trump was many times. On the other hand, just calling Epstein a constituent of Representative Plaskett is not really a great way to refer to Epstein. So what I'm worried about, Sharon, is let's give all the facts and then discuss, wait, are the Democrats a little concerned about their ties to Epstein? Well, let's try to find out.
Yeah, and we'll start with this, Cenk. Here's a clip of Plaskett texting Epstein. And if you look near the bottom of the screen, you can see what the two of them were texting in real time. Look at this.
Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Did you review? Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
Her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot.
We're learning so much. The texts were revealed in the recent disclosure of Epstein files. And if you're wondering why Epstein was texting with Plaskett, it's because she is the delegate from the US Virgin Islands. Epstein owned 2 islands in the territory, and he bought off politicians in the Virgin Islands, we know that, including Plaskett, to push the policies he wanted. Not a great look for Plaskett. Hakeem Jeffries, though, how about him? He's repeatedly refused to condemn her interactions with Epstein. So let's take a look.
She was arguing her texts with Jeffrey Epstein were not illegal, but in your view, were they appropriate?
Well, Stacey Plaskett is not accused of violating any House rule, any law, any statute.
Stacey Plaskett was in direct communication with Jeffrey Epstein, and this was after he pleaded guilty to sex crimes. This is after the Miami Herald investigation.
In a bipartisan way, the resolution that was introduced targeting Stacey Plaskett was defeated.
Have you spoken to Stacey Plaskett after this controversy emerged?
I have not.
Why wouldn't you speak to Stacey Plaskett?
I said I haven't spoken to her since the censure resolution went down.
No, about this text controversy.
I have not spoken to her since the censure resolution went down.
Have you talked to her about this text controversy?
She and I have talked, and it's a private conversation that will remain private.
I don't know why we can't know everything. Jeffries was referring to a failed attempt by Republican members of the House to censure and condemn Plaskett. The unsuccessful resolution would have also stripped her of her House Intelligence Committee position, but that's not the end of Jeffries' problems. Another document that was released in the recent Epstein files disclosure was an email that Jeffrey Epstein received in 2013 from a fundraising firm. The email touted Jeffries as one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation and a staunch supporter of President Obama. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democratic majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in the DSCC fundraising dinner with President Obama this coming night. The email said, shared directions with recipients who would like to get involved with the dinner or would like to get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. The email included the text of a New York One profile of Jeffries. It's signed by Darren Rigger, Lisa Rossi, Walter Sweat of Dynamic SRG, which touts itself as a top political fundraising and public affairs firm for progressive candidates and causes in New York City. Now, Jeffrey stated that he was unaware that email was ever sent. He claims he has never taken a donation from Epstein, nor did he ever interact with Jeffrey Epstein. It's unknown at this time if Epstein even responded to the email, let alone donated to Jeffries. As for Plaskett herself, she was confronted about her ties to Epstein on CNN. Here's that clip.
I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a friendship with him is not something that I would deemed to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes, and as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can.
Okay, we have to unpack this, Cenk. I'm disgusted by what she just said there, the word salad of it all. Now she wants to move forward, look forward. Let's not dwell on things. Where do you land on all of this, including Hakeem Jeffries? I mean, this is a messy thing. Why can't we just go wherever the investigation takes us?
Yeah, I want to give two more facts before we get there, because this is super relevant. Let's go to graphic 4. Epstein donated, $5,400 to Plasket's campaigns in 2016 campaign cycle, hitting the contribution limits for the primary and general elections. He maxed out his donation to her unopposed campaign in the 2018 cycle as well. I can give you a lot more, but I'll skip down to number 7. At some point in fall of 2018, Plaskett visited Epstein at his Manhattan mansion. He agreed to give the full $30,000 that Plaskett had asked him to contribute to the DCCC. Now, eventually the DCCC did not accept the donation, eventually. I don't know if that was before or after he was arrested. But yeah, they were asking Epstein for money. But to be fair to them, this is not unusual. Both parties are deeply corrupt. They'll take money from anyone, and they will serve anyone. And they'll serve them, well, as you saw with Plaskett. She has no idea what to ask Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's fixer, in that 2019 congressional hearing. And so she's asking Epstein, what should I ask about Trump? By the way, let's note that Epstein knows everything about Trump. I mean, theoretically, they'd broken off their relationship, what, like 15 years ago or so? But he's like, he knows about her assistant, he knows everything. Is that because they had a relationship all the way up to 2011, where one of the emails from Epstein says, oh yeah, he was over at my house for a couple of hours, by the way, with Virginia Giuffre, Trump was? Could be that they remained friends for a long time since then. Could it be that Jeffrey Epstein is with an intelligence agency, and hence he knows everything there is to know about Donald Trump? And he's now feeding it to the politicians in an effort, in that case, to damage Trump. And you see in the emails constant conversations with him, and by the way, hilariously, journalists like Michael Wolff, there's a reporter from the New York Times, and they're all talking about how do we work together, and should we damage Trump, should we not damage Trump? Who's we? Who's we? That's super weird, okay? So then in this case, Plaskett takes a whole bunch of money. She gets this question, okay, ask him about Rona. She's like, is that an acronym? And then she says, Miss Rona, Rona's the first name. She's just verbatim regurgitating her donor's requests, let alone the fact that the donor's Jeffrey Epstein. And then at the end, the donor texts back, good work. Good work, puppet. Yeah. No, you're not allowed to say that as a trope. That was literally puppeteering. So don't do the trope. Okay, ask this, say that. Good job, puppet, okay? So no, Plaskett, useless. Get rid of her, the voters. Obviously, what a terribly corrupt person. I'm not interested in anything else. Oh, it's not like we were friends or whatever she said with that word salad. You went to his Manhattan mansion after you knew that he was a predator to ask for money. And then you did whatever he asked you to do, including using up all your time to ask his questions of the witness in front of Congress. No, I mean, for a lot of Democrats don't understand, especially in the old days, now it's getting much, much better. You could tell them, Mitch McConnell's taking $1 billion, he's obviously corrupt, right? They're like, oh yeah, definitely corrupt, oh yeah. Nancy Pelosi's taking $1 billion, obviously corrupt, right? Like, how dare you, she's an angel, right? And so, I hope we're past that, right? You guys begin to see, almost all of them take the money, and almost all of them work for the donors. Very, very, very literally, anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you on purpose when the evidence is overwhelming for both parties, for the uniparty. The only reason why everybody in the country doesn't know it is because mainstream media isn't in the news business, they're in the propaganda business. They cover up the news on behalf of the corrupt politicians and donors, so you don't find out how deeply corrupt they really are.
So 100% agree, everything you said there. There's just one thing. You have the momentum. The Epstein files are released. Again, I say let the investigation, wherever it leads us, let's go there. It just is so gross to me when you have Jamie Raskin, Hakeem Jeffries, I expect it, coming out in her defense, why not? I get it. Everybody's swimming in the same dirty pond. But since you're all dirty and there's no honor among, this is the way the phrase goes, thieves, why not just leave her out there dangling? Why do they have to, Cenk? Go and claim all that time to talk about this woman who's proven to be something despicable, at least based on this interaction. It's gross.
Yeah. So my theory on that, Sharon, is that even if it's not money they're taking from Epstein specifically, that tons of those Democrats do the same exact thing as Plaskett, just with different donors. So they're in congressional hearings. They're like, okay, oil companies, how much money should we give you? Okay, big pharma, how should I restrict competition and give you an unfair advantage? Okay, I'll do it right away, sir. Right away, sir. If you remember, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, after voting against higher minimum wage, went to the National Restaurant Association convention and started collecting checks. The National Restaurant Association was the one group that was most against it. The entire business community was against it. The corporate world was like, no, lower wages for Americans, not higher wages. Subsidies for me, lower wages for them. And Kyrsten Sinema, if you remember, did that thing where she came in like a cute outfit and she was like, no on the minimum wage for Americans, boo, and then she went and took bribes. She's like, give me checks, and they paid that. If she was a male, I would use a certain term that I'm not allowed to use with women. Anyway, but honestly, here, I'll say it, almost all of Congress is filled with prostitutes. It's just a question of who's the client. In this case, it happened to be Epstein, but they'll sell themselves for anyone. So that's why probably the Democrats are like, no, be cool with Plaskett, be cool. If they find out how much we serve all of our donors, we're all in a world of trouble, okay? And last thing is, Jeffrey Scott, you're such a clown, man. I didn't talk to her. Well, are you sure? You didn't talk to her about the text at all? I didn't talk to her. Wait, it sounds like you did talk to her. Yeah, I talked to her. Okay, God, they're so bad at this. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.